What's going on, guys, in the works, and welcome to another Battlefield 3 Showdown. And today we are doing the L85A2 versus the Scar L, two fully auto long-range assault rifles which many people consider to be very similar. The last week we did two PDWs in the MP7 versus the M5K, and the MP7 put the beat down on the M5K in the Facebook polls. Not very surprising, but if you want to be a part in this week's episode, be sure to vote in the Facebook poll and leave your comments, because I always use you guys' feedback to just kind of decide who won last week's Showdown. This week we are doing the Scar L versus the L85, and a Ginger 491 was one of many of you guys who requested seeing this showdown, and you guys have been asking for this for quite a while, and I feel like these two weapons are just destined to be together because they have some very key similarities, but there are some subtle differences that kind of set them apart. You can see that the L85A2 does shoot 30 rounds per minute faster than the Scar L, but it reloads slower by a pretty large margin. However, the Scar L does have a little less recoil. Now, I will point out I will be using heavy barrel throughout all of these clips on both of these weapons, and it is my recommendation that heavy barrel is the attachment of choice on either of these two. But the Scar L actually benefits more from the heavy barrel because it seems to have a lower multiplier in terms of the recoil patterns. Now, the Scar already has a little bit lower recoil than the L85, but it seems like with the heavy barrel, the Scar isn't really affected a whole lot. According to the stats, the gun actually doesn't have that much more recoil when equipped with the heavy barrel. And when you use it, you definitely notice that. And that's one of the things I noticed when I was kind of field testing these to make sure I had a grip on, what the differences between these two were. Now, you're going to see me hipfire in the Scar a lot, and that was because I was trying to get some hipfire footage to kind of show you guys the differences between these two, because the key difference between them is the L85 is a bullpup weapon, which means that as you're moving, as you're hipfiring and moving, you're going to get aiming bonuses. So if you're aimed down sights while moving, it's going to be like a 0.7 spread versus the Scar, which is a little bit higher while moving. So that's a big difference. You will be more accurate when on the go when using bullpup weapons. So the L85 definitely kind of caters to someone who wants to play very aggressive. And I mean, that hipfire bonus does come into play from time to time. Now, the Scar is a painfully slow shooting weapon. There's no doubt about that. And when you think about the Scar L, you just think about accuracy, the ability to go fully auto at medium range, the ability to go pretty large pop fires when going from longer range. You can sit there and go boo, boo, as opposed to do, and that's one of the key advantages to it. But, it does suffer. In close quarters, the Scar L can be a little bit tricky to use. I mean, a lot of people do like using it in close quarters, though, because of that accuracy. They feel like if they can get more bullets on target faster, they can often beat people in the, quote, rate of fire battles. And it's really tricky to get the hang of the Scar L, same with the L85, but it is an accuracy weapon. I look at these as more of marksman rifles, as rifles that you're going to sit back a little bit. You don't have to rush in. But I think if you are going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to rush in a little bit more, you're going to play a little bit more aggressive, you might want to go with the L85. Now, one of the things that really holds me back from liking the L85 more than I do, I mean, I do enjoy using this rifle, but the problem with it is the reload times. They are very slow. Bullpup weapons reload very slow in this game. It's kind of the penalty you get from using a bullpup weapon, and that can lead to some problems, especially if you find yourself with multiple enemies. The slow rate of fire does make it a little bit easier to kind of stay on target and get multiple guys, but for the most part, you're going to struggle if you run into 5 or 6 guys, even on a map like Metro. But I think if you're going to pick a weapon to play a little bit more in close, the Scar L is going to get outclassed by the L85. Now, like I said, these are very, very similar weapons. I had a really hard time sitting down and deciding, what factors I want out of a weapon. But I think that I'm definitely going to give my vote to the Scar L. Now, I will say this. The one advantage that a lot of people overlook, which you saw me using at the very, very beginning of this video, is the fact that the L85 can actually use burst fire. Now, that's really, really advantageous at longer ranges, at least in my experiences. So if you're looking to maybe conserve a little bit more ammo, maybe to be a little bit more precise with your shots, the burst fire mode on this weapon really comes in handy. Even better, you could go single fire, but obviously all weapons have single fire for the most part. And honestly, guys, I mean, if you want to sit there and pick off people at longer ranges, try out the L85 on burst fire. But I think best of breed, even though it is a little bit less versatile than the L85, I think I do like the Scar L better. But I'm interested to see what you guys think, so be sure to vote in the Facebook poll. These are two very similar weapons. I've showed you guys some of the weaknesses, some of the strengths of both. So now it's your turn to make your opinion. Which weapon wins this week's showdown? So let me know, and let me know what weapons you might like to see in the future. You know, we're starting to get to where we've done a lot of showdowns. I was thinking PKP versus M60, so let me know if you guys think that sounds good, because if it sounds like something you'd like to see, I think that would be a good showdown for next week. You know, get some LMG love in here. But if you missed any of our past episodes, now's your time to catch up. We did the M5K versus the MP7 last week, and the week before that, we did the SG553 versus the G53. So 2 awesome episodes. Be sure to catch up on them, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.